Colchester.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we've heard from the Parliamentary Secretary the tremendous risk for and from unvaccinated air travellers. However, isn't it true, Mr. Speaker, that many unvaccinated Canadians can actually travel by air with a negative antigen test?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. All Canadians are sick and tired of COVID, and we all agree on that. But just wishing away or ignoring it will not simply make it go away. Over the past 3 months, we can continue to see more deaths from COVID, over 1,700 in the month of May. The most important thing we can do is to get through this pandemic is to drive up vaccination rates. Mr. Speaker, we will continue to be informed by science and not the political games of the Conservative opposition.
The Honourable Member for Cumberland Colchester.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I find it fascinating. We don't want to wish away science. We want to wish away incompetence. And what's important here, Mr. Speaker, is to answer the actual question, because if an antigen test is good for some Canadians to get on an airplane, why not all Canadians? What is the difference between Canadians who are unvaccinated, for instance, in Cumberland Colchester, who want to fly, and those who live in northern communities? Well, the answer is clear, Mr. Speaker, because the only difference is not medical science, it's political science. When will this government drop these vindictive mandates and let Canadians get back to pre-pandemic normal?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Yesterday, the member from Cumberland Colchester tried to minimize the COVID-19 deaths in this country by referencing deaths from other causes. Mr. Speaker, every lost life is tragic. And on this side of the House, we understand that it's a government's job to do everything we can to protect people and save lives, whether that's from COVID-19 or any other cause. We owe it to them and all Canadians to remain focused on keeping them safe and our communities healthy, and we will continue to do that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Sarnia-Lambton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, the Parliamentary Secretary for the Minister of Health needs to get in line with the rest of the country's 55 of them that have dropped all the mandates. So he was informed the other day that Canadians that are unvaccinated can travel on ferries as long as the journey is less than 24 hours. So why can't unvaccinated Canadians travel on flights within Canada, since they're all less than 24 hours? When is this Liberal government going to get rid of the mandates and get us back to pre-pandemic normal?
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Health.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives can't seem to make up their mind about vaccinations. The member from Yorkton Melville claims the government has a secret agenda after refusing to get vaccinated. Another Conservative, the MP from Niagara West, tabled a position.
I'm going to interrupt the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Calm down now.
The Honourable Member for Sarnia-Lambton is rather far, and I'm sure she wants to hear the answer, so I'm going to let the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary start right from the beginning so that she can hear it, and I'm sure everybody will be very quiet so that he can actually be heard. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary, from the top.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's hard to hear myself sometimes in this place. The Conservatives just can't seem to make up their mind about vaccinations. The member from Yorkton Melville claims that the government has a secret agenda after refusing to get vaccinated. Another Conservative, the MP from Niagara West, tabled a petition in this House to ban all mRNA vaccines. Mr. Speaker, those are the vaccines that have saved millions of lives around the world. Science is clear that vaccines are safe and effective in reducing the spread of COVID-19, as well as severe cases, hospitalizations, and death. I'd encourage the members opposite in the Conservative opposition to get behind that and encourage their constituents to get a third or a fourth dose. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member for Hastings, Lennox and Addington.
The ArriveCAN provides a serious accessibility barrier to many Canadians, in particular those who may not own a smartphone or have the digital literacy to properly navigate the process. Not everyone is tech savvy. While the introduction of a paper form was a good first step, and one that should have been in place since day one, Mr. Speaker, when will this government commit to listening to the thousands of Canadians experiencing problems at the border and stop the mandatory use of the ArriveCAN app?
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
My colleague for underlining some of the issues which we've worked through with CBSA on ArriveCAN. I'm pleased to report that since the low point of travel during the pandemic, we're now seeing levels come back over 700%, which is good news. That's as a result of the modifications that we've made, easing travel restrictions. That's as a result of lowering some of the barriers that my colleague pointed out with ArriveCAN. And I'm also pleased to report to this chamber that compliance with ArriveCAN is over 90%. And in the long run, will make the traveler's voyage that much more efficient. Mr. Speaker. So we'll continue to work with all members on it. Thank you.
L'honorable.